Good. Hey everybody, Chris Grow Fishing here. Finally going to drop the recap lessons learned. It's going to be broken down in a couple parts. We are going to start with just a quick mistake of number one, why I'm sitting here on beautiful Lake Delvin and not at the title. I chose to go for largemouth, as all you guys saw from some of my IG and a Facebook post, and actually some of my YouTube beginning recaps while I was sitting in Champlain. But yeah, that was dumb. I've got right on largemouth there before. I mean, we all know my ex-roommate did really well on largemouth, and it wasn't the problem that I didn't find enough. I just wasn't finding the quality. Some of the guys did do okay on largemouth, but they had a mixed bag, and I tried to basically go all green, and I have no clue what I was thinking, folks, and it's got me sitting here with you guys now. No better place I'd love to be. That's being a smart ass, by the way. But here we are. So that was dumb, totally dumb, and I'm not saying don't fish largemouth at Champlain, but when we are talking August, which is a time I've never been there, a lot of fish, they're offshore. I could tell you that the weed growth was nowhere near what it was in previous years, which I'm a flipper. I like to flip weeds, so I'm not huge on fishing weed lines and submerged vegetation. I want to flip if I'm going for it, and I force the subject too much, if that makes sense. And also had some battery issues on day 2. I'm not saying that that structured anything differently, but I was going to make a run, go to a little sneak hole, and someone beat me in there, and they ended up getting right. But we're done with that, just like it's wiped out of my mind. Next is the time spent there. I spent basically another 2 weeks there doing some fun fishing, doing some filming. I jumped in a BFL, and then I fished the Toyota series. We're going to start with the BFL. And basically the way I'm going to go with this is, ooh, a good one just jumped over there. In that week period before the BFL, I said to myself, I need to learn how to catch these brown ones off my graph, just like 95% of the competition. And I needed to learn using my live. I got a 360, I've got all the hummingbird stuff, but it was key to live. These fish did not want to be on structure. You could find the biggest boulder, throw by it, and catch a 12, 14-inch smallmouth, and that sure as heck was not going to pay the bills or do anything to get you up in the standings. So the key was they were roaming on flats. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the BFL itself, the tournament, and then basically going to go into baits. And the baits that I chose were the same for both the BFL and the Toyota. So the BFL started, one-day event, jumped in it because I had 4 or 5 days under my belt catching them on this live. And we'll get into that into detail. But that tournament ended up finishing 19th. But I was plagued again. I lost 3 bass that cost me. And the funny way I lost them is the one bait I had going, and I had it on the deck. I didn't catch many fish on it in practice, but I just knew that if I can run into a bigger fish, they would bite it. So what I had was, you're seeing these fish, we're fishing anywhere from 40 to 15 feet of water. And you'd look on the live and you'd literally see them suspended just under the surface, a foot or 2 foot, just ripping, pushing alewives. So what I thought, no matter what bait I thought, it was the old trusty, chicken. I'm talking the TVA chicken. This is Outcast chicken, trimmed up a little bit. But I'm talking about a bait that is mainly for largemouth, and I tried to incorporate it, and in practice I caught a really big one on it, so I'm like, I could try this. Well, go figure in the BFL. I've got my 18 pounds, sorry, 17, 15, and I'm looking to get a bigger bite. I see one darting out at 80-something feet along the surface. I pick this thing up, chuck it out there, and it was almost like I was Michael Jordan. This thing, you watched it on the live, literally land in the water as the fish is eating it. It was like I basketballed it. I got bait casting tackle, ain't fished with it all week. Bone this fish, I'm like, oh my gosh. And this fish comes up and it's all 5 pounds. Gets about 5 feet in the air and throws this big old chicken. But it is what it is. And the chicken comes into play again in the Toyota. We'll talk about that then. But so I lose that big one. Is what it is. Then I lose another one. And it was an interesting thing. I'll tell you about all the drop shot stuff and the baits I used. hook up on a fish on a drop shot, and here's what's nutty about it is, and it's funny, my roommate told me about this, Stefan, when it happens. When you get these bigger fish on a drop shot, we all know smallmouth are mean, but the bigger ones are meaner. They didn't get that big for nothing. And this fish came up so hard and thrashed, it threw the drop shot weight around the line and broke the line. So it was an interesting thing. And then the other one I lost was just pure stupidity. Seth yelled at me, Matt yelled at me. I'm playing these fish like I got a 7'6" rod and braid, trying to dunk their head and keep the rod in the water. And all you guys, that's not how you do it. I didn't lose a bass in practice because I didn't care. I'm not saying don't care in a tournament, but when they go up, you go up on that light tackle, because any other way, it just doesn't work out for you. And I got to prove that. So just lost another one being dumb, trying to keep him down. And I should have let him come up. I didn't know how big he was, but he was kicking my booty, so he had to be over 4. So, is what it is. That was a BFL. Awesome experience. Had a good time. It really set the precedence for the week that this is what I need to do. So let's get into baits. Like I said, both baits are for the Toyota and for the BFL, and they're going to definitely be staples from here on out when I'm using the live. That's people here. How you guys doing? Good. Oh, not bad, not bad. But yeah, so here we go. As we were just interrupted by some nature lovers. Give me one sec, because this is timely. We're going to start on how things worked, and maybe this will work for some of you guys all around the north. The flatworm was the deal. If you guys didn't notice that everyone throws flatworms, whether they're sponsored by them or not. If you get Bass Blaster and hear Kumar's deal, 67% of the competition at Champlain used flatworms. And we all know that because they are the best. But there was a key here, boys and girls. In the mornings, till 8:30, 9 o'clock, or on cloudy days, we discovered that you needed to go with the shad type baits. Mine was white, which I'm all out of, and brownback. And in the mornings, this would be key, or in the clouds. I do not know why, but the minute that sun came out, you needed to switch to black or green pumpkin. I was going with green pumpkin party just because I like to party. You know what I mean? But that's what we had there. Black worked out okay, but that was a definite thing. You would see them stop biting the white or the brownback, and you definitely have to make that switch. Enough about the flatworm, because everyone's hearing about them. We done. But here we go, was the other bait. Another Berkeley product that was awesome is the Gulp Minnow. Many forget about. This thing stinks just as much as a max scent flatworm, and they definitely eat alewives. And this in the morning was very, very good as well. So we put that into the game. Then my new little favorite bait. I kind of did a little bit of a metamorphosis of it. I was lucky to fish with Nick Ratcliffe, and you know, I give everyone credit where they're at and where I learn. 44 years old, still learning every day in the water. And I went to Dale Hollow and learned how to basically Damiki fish and forward face sonar swim baits at these fish. And it's very much like when I was throwing the chicken. I would see fish that were in the middle of the water column. You know, say I'm at 30 and I see one cruising at, 16 feet. I would implement this, and it would only work 50% of the time. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I'd only land 50% of them, which kind of sucked. I would take my good old buddy here, Joshua Douglas's GoldenEye head. This is in 3/8 with the 1/0 hook, okay? And I had one pack, so we're down to not much here. I would glue on good old Jay Lee's Champ Swimmer, and this was in cloud. And guys, this little combo here is my new favorite friend. This thing is the deal for those cruisers. And the reason I did the 3/8 is I want a reaction. So when that bait hits the water, it falls quick, and I can cast it super, super far. So I'd see these fish cruising at that mid-range, and I'd fire this thing and literally dot them, hit them in the head, 50% of them, you would see him smoke it, or you'd continue to see it fall and you'd see him lose attention, okay? But 50% of them would eat it. But it was insane because they would literally eat it when you closed the bail on your spinning pole. I was using a medium action 7-foot fast on that deal because I wanted a little more backbone. And here we are again in practice, boned every one of them. Tournament day, they're flying in the air. They're getting halfway to the boat and falling off. I don't know what the bass gods have done to me over the last few years, but they don't like me putting them in the boat. So maybe I need to practice more or read more in Fisherman Magazine. I don't know, but this deal, guys. And you know what I'm saying? If you don't want to use the Outcast head, you could probably use a ball head, whatever. I'm Outcast through and through, and it just looks so good. Doesn't it, honey? As my woman records. But this is a new staple that's going to stick with me in all northern lakes, Great Lakes included. Then, here we go. Let's get into Champlain Toyota. Talk about some of my lost fish. But then we can talk about some of the other things I progressively learned through these days here, because my brain is oozing and I just love sharing it with you. So, same setup, same everything going on. I go into the Toyota. Life is good. I feel awesome. Start the day off. Literally, second cast, hooking a fish close to 4 pounds. Let's start the day off right. Here she comes. She gets about 4 feet in the air by the boat, and my co-angler froze, and he did not want to scoop it, or maybe I said something wrong to him in the morning. I don't know, but he didn't make it in the boat. But hey, if they're gonna bite that good, on fire. So as the day progressed, caught a lot of fish, but lost a lot of fish. I lost 3 more. That I did not make things happy. So we still come in with 17, 15, but I started creating new little things when I was on the water, because I was catching too many 2.5 to like 2 3/4 pounders. I need to get bigger. So I went digging in the Phoenix, and I remember when I was at St. Clair, I was into this. This is the Jerk Shad Max Scent in Blue Glimmer. So I upped my drop shot hook, and then I went into this, and I started picking them off on this, and the fish were getting a bit bigger. Then we lost a few on it, but this bigger profile, it was really cloudy that day, so I was able to get away from the green pumpkin and really stay in the shads. And I was running through every other bait, and I was like stuck at my weight, so I'm like, oh, I gotta get bigger. So we went with this, and it's a good little technique. I think I amped up to, what did I go up to? I think I went to like a 1 or 1/0 drop shot hook fusion for this, and it laid in there perfectly. But here was my other little tip here, and we give credit where credit is due. My good buddy Tristan McCormick, everyone knows he's got probably the second best hair compared to mine. Joking, Tristan. But phenomenal young fisherman, amazing with the forward-facing sonar. He's like, "Bro, you gotta get shallower." What do you mean? Okay, well, I listened to him and went shallower on day 2 and managed to come in with 15.5, but I lost a whole bunch again, and they were bigger ones. But the cool thing about this is all week I'm drop shotting the lightest weight I can kind of get away with. I mean, there's a lot of wind, so it was tough, but 3/8 was my main arsenal. But he's like, "Bro, get shallow and go with a 1/2 ounce. It's gonna stream by their head faster and cause a reaction." Boy, he right. So that's something to implement, guys. You know, you're not getting the reaction that you want. You're seeing them go down on the live. You're seeing them drift away. Try a heavier weight. It could work. And make sure you try. Don't try. Go with the no equal. Flat out tungsten. Best tungsten there is. The only tungsten to use. So the lesson there was, have a combo sitting up with a 1/2 ounce, even when you don't need it. It could be slick calm. I don't care. And you're fishing 10, 12, 13 feet of water, you want that quick reaction. And sometimes it'll put a bass in a different mood and commit. We do got a little rain, but it ain't gonna hurt us. But we're gonna continue here. So as that went down, day 2, ticked off, lost a couple 4.5 pounders. Probably should have came in with another 18 pounds, maybe a little more, and cashed a check. I could talk about the coulda, shouldas forever. We'd be here for a real long time, but it is what it is. But basically, I I had a very successful northern swing from the learning aspect, not from filling the bank account aspect, but my hands are raw, caught plenty of fish, and my brain is oozing. So I wanted to share a lot of that with you. And just gonna leave you with a couple quick tips. As for rods and reels, we can talk about that anytime. You guys can DM me or message me. You know I'm a Boo Garcia for life. Basically running a Fantasita 610 medium light fast drop shot rod with a Rebo rocket on that. I'm running 2 of those, and then I'm running the new PLX tournament drop shot rod, and I got that on an MGX. And like I said, the chicken rod, simple 7.2 medium heavy Ike, 17 pound, no problem. Everyone's having fun today, not just us. But the next one was basically for that little swimmer with the Champ swimmer. I beefed it up to a medium 7-footer. All this is on X9 braid, white, 15 pound test to 8 pound, 100% fluorocarbon leader. FG knot all day long. Number 2 drop shot hook. Anywhere from a 3/8 to a 1/2 ounce. Flat out tungsten drop shot weight. Keeping it simple. You guys want to know the knots I use to the, for the drop shot, we can get into that later. That could be a whole other topic. I do 2 different knots and 2 different hooks, but that could be another story, or you guys can independently write me and I'll be able to help you on that. But I wanted to talk about the one last thing that I touched on that went hand in hand with the live. And I don't have it with me. You saw it in the last video as I was unpacking. It's my Aqua View. Guys, they're making one for all shapes and sizes and price points. I recommend it. Even if you don't have live, we have these sonars telling us these fish, but it's so nice to have confidence and to know what kind of fish it is. I mean, I got on a school that looked like smallmouth. I put the camera down there, there's 8 giant drum with 1 smallmouth in the bunch. Okay, so that was key. But the main thing was for this event is they did not want to be on structure. They did not want to be on points. They wanted to be on a break line next to a flat or on top of the flat. And you got little weed clumps all over for them to hide. So the best thing for me to do was sneak through with my Ultrex, slide through, put it on constant, set it up on 2 real slow, and just move around with that Aqua View and just give myself that confirmation and confidence that I'm sifting through those little weed clumps, maybe a little rock clump there, not a rock pile, but a little hard spot, that those were smallmouth bass and they weren't anything else. The combination of that with the live and a flatworm was deadly. And you're seeing it from most of the guys out there. It was a great combo, but I just wanted to let you know that a few pros really used an Aqua View. And as you're seeing some of these guys with Lowrance, you're able to watch it on the screen. This is definitely something you guys all need to look into. Whether you're pan fishing, musky fishing, it's just good to get confirmation. So I feel like the Aqua View, the live, listening to young kids, because I'm getting old, and putting confirmation in what I can do on the water, all made for a good trip. We didn't make too much money, but we're very confident now fishing with the forward-facing sonar. I feel like I learned a ton of stuff that I should have known earlier, or maybe even should have got live earlier. But like I said, coulda, shoulda, woulda. But that's that. I know it's taken a while. You guys are awesome. All the messages, everything you guys do, keep me afloat. Allow that 18-hour ride home a lot easier. We still got some stuff here. We still got St. Lawrence. We still got a shot at the Toyota Championship at my nemesis, Gunnersville. We got a bunch of championships at home. We got to take Leo fishing. We got stuff. Love you guys. Chain Rats for life. Thanks for subscribing. We'll be talking to you soon.